Let's talk parts. Yeah, that corner of the dealership most people don't look at until there's a fire. Parts Edge helps you clean up that mess. Smarter inventory, better margins, and no more guessing games. It's like giving your parts manager a crystal ball, except this one actually works. Spiffy. You can manage your mobile appointments, optimize your service routes, track inventory, and process payments, all with Spiffy, and you can learn more at spiffy.com. You ever wish you could inspect every car like a tech with X-ray vision? UVI is like an MRI for your car. UVI doesn't miss a thing. Scans the tires, the underbody, body panels, and wheels for scuffs in seconds, giving your team instant, actionable intel without slowing down the lane. That's not the future. That's UVI, and it's live in stores today.
Okay. Well, Lori, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, let me give you a short introduction, and then, of course, you tell us about yourself as well. So, I'm sure most people know you, but for those who don't, this is Laurie Halter. She's the owner of Charisma Communications, which is a powerhouse PR agency in the automotive space. She is a true super connector, a storyteller, and the host of the Careering podcast, where she champions women balancing career, leadership, and life. Did I get that right, Lori?
I love it. Jody, I was just going to say you need to just follow me around and make that introduction all the time. I love it.
Absolutely. I can do that. So, Lori, why don't you give us a little bit of a taste of who you are and what you do, just for people who may not know? And I just gave a general overview. So go
Yeah.
for it.
Well, thank you so much. You did a great job. I mean, I own Charisma Communications. It's an agency, boutique agency, really, in automotive. We work primarily with tech providers who sell into dealerships, so super niched. I started the agency in 2003, so we're going on year 22. And one of the things we like best, me and the team, is connecting, like you said, connecting with people and connecting brands and companies with the editors, influencers, event managers, and others in the industry, partners in the industry, who we feel could create great connections between the groups. And so that's really, I think, where we shine, is knowing the right people to get to at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell us how you ended up starting your business. Why did you decide to do it? And what goals were you setting out to accomplish?
So the only goal I was setting out to accomplish is not to work for anyone else at the time. I started in the industry in 1999 at Chrome Data, came on as their marketing like associate, basically the smallest level of marketing you can be, and worked with them for 3 years, worked my way up to head of marketing for the company at the time, and had a wonderful mentor named Phyllis McKenna. She's still a very good friend of mine. She at the time was the CMO of the company, and wanted me to go into product management for Chrome, and was really helping me move up the ladder quickly. But I just had this inner knowing for the longest time that I wanted to work for myself and own my own company and be an entrepreneur. So I went to her one day and just said, I can't really do this anymore. I love this company. I love the brand. I love the team, but I feel very strongly I want to go out on my own. So they laid me off so I would get severance, and then became my first client. And that's how Charisma Communications was born in 2003. So I joke that, like, I've worked for a company for 3 years total. And the rest of my career, I've worked for the hardest boss in the industry myself. And we've just grown from there. We're now six people on the team, one of which is Alyssa Calvo-Russo, who you guys may know used to head up Digital Dealer and be the publisher of Digital Dealer. So she's now a
Nice.
team member, and we do everything from social media to public relations, writing, articles, event management, all the things. So
Yeah.
it's been a great ride.
So when you started, did you just take on all the marketing tasks that you had done for that company and done it under your own umbrella? And then, I guess what I have trouble grasping is, how do you juggle a wide array of marketing tasks for multiple clients at the same time?
Well, yeah, at the time I kind of became the de facto marketing PR for Chrome. But as we grew, it became really apparent to me that I couldn't be the only person that was handling this. Because to your point, there's so many different tasks and things that have to happen. So I would say one of my biggest business lessons is, and the scariest time for a company is taking that leap from being yourself into hiring on a team. But I'm so glad I did, because that's truly the only way we can do it. I think we're currently at 12 different clients on a monthly basis, and we have a team of 5. And so it really does take every single member of the team to help with that amount of clients monthly.
Yeah, because they're wanting all kinds of different things. You don't just offer a base package. We'll do 1 PO for you and 2 blog posts, or whatever it
Right.
is. It's sort of a custom bucket for each client.
Yeah. So we, in a way, so we customize it per client, but we do 5 different, we call it kind of our 5 different prongs of PR on a monthly basis. And that's drafting press releases and taking them out to the publications, writing articles and getting them published in publications, event submissions, so getting people on stage. Some of them we've taken over their LinkedIn social just to make sure to amplify what they're doing. And then the biggest one that's kind of come out of nowhere in the last couple of years is podcast guest
Yeah.
interviews. That's really almost, in my mind, taken over the press releases, the articles, all of the other things. And it makes sense because it's the video, it's like this, it's video and it's guests and it's being on all of the shows that are now all over the place in automotive.
Yes, there are a lot of them. Um, we've had our podcast since 2021, and I tell you, we've seen a lot of shows come and go.
Yep.
Not too many that have stayed for the whole time that we've been around. And it does get tough, not just the editing and the publishing and the writing, but you have to come up with a new guest every
Yeah.
episode. And
Yes.
not everybody wants to be on a screen.
And not everyone should be on a screen, right? So that's one of the other things is we talk to our clients and ensure that before they get on any shows like this, they're prepped, they're ready, they know their brand promise, they know what differentiates them. All of the messaging things that it was marketers is second habit to us, but it's amazing. If it's not in their wheelhouse, they don't know those types of things to bring to the show. So yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I had careering, like you said, a podcast for female leaders, and between finding the guests, putting them together, pre-production, post-production, it's a lot of work.
It is. Do you still run that podcast, or did you guys stop?
Funny enough, when you said they've come and go, I took a break in September 2024, I believe, and we have yet to get back on air. But it's something I'm going to bring back. I loved it. It brought me into contact with so many wonderful women in this industry, and they had so much
Yeah.
to share that I will be bringing it back. But to your point, it's just, we were almost like a victim of our own success. It became so successful and so time consuming that I had to take a step back to ensure the agency was coming first and that we could continue that.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. And then when you narrow a podcast down to say just women in automotive, then you run out of women pretty quick. Like it only takes a year or so where you're struggling to find.
Oh yeah,
Or
I see Wendy on the call too. Hi, Wendy. And we know, there's, when you're speaking about women in automotive, you're talking about 1-2% of the population. And so yes, it does. But I've had such amazing women on, Carrie Wise and Subi Ghosh and April Simmons, and just really incredible powerhouse women that are doing amazing things in this industry.
yeah, there are. There are for sure. Well, let's see. How has business ownership been over the years? Are there any hard years that you've had to push through that you could tell us about?
Oh, yeah. I love that question. I would say in memory, the hardest was 2008 when all of the OEMs had the government bailouts and they were just dropping things like flies. They had looked good in the public image. And so that creates a domino effect for us. When that happens with the OEMs, it comes down to the dealers who come down to the tech providers who come down to us. So it dominoed its way down. And I'll be really honest and truthful. I'm very much an open book. We went from 40,000 a month in clients to 4,000 overnight.
Oh,
So I had a team of 4 or 5 at the time. I had to lay all of them off. I was in charge of their health benefits, their, really their livelihood. And the team members, I knew them by heart. I knew their families. And so I think that was one of the hardest years because not only did I have to be the one who was taking away the benefits and the money, quite frankly, that I was
Yeah.
bringing into their family, but also it was a time where I was like, is the company going to survive? Are we going to, what's going to happen? And it was only through going down to just myself, back to myself and working. And I feel like really almost that entire year was kind of a transitionary year because so much was going on. And we eventually built back up the business. I now have my team back in place. I will say one of the changes I made during that year is I work with contractors now instead of employees because at the time I really didn't ever want to take away someone's livelihood again.
All right, we all know about warranty nightmares. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated. If your warranty process still involves sticky notes, tribal knowledge, and late night claims rejections, you're leaving money on the table. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated brings clarity, compliance, and cash flow to your warranty game. They speak fluent OEM, and they've got your back. Hey, I want to encourage you to take a visit over to our partner, Target Automotive, target.com. That is great until you're drowning in it. Target turns that chaos into clarity with dashboards that actually make sense. Fixed ops leaders finally get what they need: real time, drill down insights without the spreadsheet migraines. It's not just business intelligence, it's Target.
It just felt like it just, for me personally, it just was such a huge disappointment for me and myself having to take that away from my team members. So that's probably one of the biggest changes to come out of that is I learned to work with people who own their own business, have established themselves, and we're not their only source of
Okay.
financial gain.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I didn't realize that you did that. So when you say you have a team of six, you're contracting that work out. You don't have an office with a staff
No,
somewhere.
no. And in fact, we're all virtual. Like everyone's virtual. We do all Zoom meetings. I do have my social media person is in Bend, which is where I am. But we've got one in Georgia, one in Portland, one in California, so one in Florida. I mean, we're all over the place. And really,
Yeah.
when you think about before COVID, that was a difficult thing to do. It wasn't like the virtual workload is not the same as what it is now. So I remember when my kids were really little, I would like lock myself in the bathroom while they're beating on the door to have a call with Ford, and at that time everyone was supposed to be in offices and you weren't supposed to be working from home. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
been a really cool transition to say, I actually really like that people can be anywhere they want now and work from anywhere.
I do too. I really like it. And before we worked remotely before COVID happened, but not
Yeah.
by much. But before that, I was commuting 3 hours a day with my son
Wow.
backseat. Yeah, I do not miss those days at
Yeah.
all. Not
Well,
at
and
all.
I think even I know you have kids too, and I have kids, and like I think even as parents, it's been so awesome to see that. Do you remember that video presentation where the guy has his kid come in the back, the little toddler, and the wife's coming in to grab the kid out? It's like during a CNN interview, I think.
Yeah.
And since that time, that was such a big deal at that time, but now I feel like that'd just be like common.
That's
I
normal.
feel like it's brought everyone's families into the forefront, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. And I remember beating myself up for how much time I spent away from my first son back then.
Yeah.
And I think we're all blessed now that we can work at home and get so much more done in such
Yeah.
a little amount of time. We're not commuting and then getting home at 6:30 and trying to figure out what to feed the
Yes.
family.
Well, and along those lines, I've worried too, and I may be jumping ahead, but I've always worried about what my kids think, right, about my work and my working. And I always want to give first to them and have them the priority. But I've had the opportunity, they're now 18 and 20, as they grow up, they've talked a lot about how it shaped them and their view of working hard and balancing and how to make things work. And so there's actually so many hidden lessons in moms who work from home that we beat ourselves up, but the truth is we're actually teaching them a lot of great lessons.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. You just
Yeah.
really don't know what kind of how they're perceiving you.
Yeah.
I imagine my kids see it as more of an irritant, like, oh, great,
Yeah.
she's going into another meeting, and we have to be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but I'll tell you, like, this is so fun. When my son was in second grade, they did this Mother's Day tea and they had to write up what they liked best about their mom and like some of the things they like best. And one of the things was like, I hear my mom typing all the time. I was like, uh-oh, well, that's not great. But the other was, like I said, he went into in second grade, how cool it was to see his mom own a company and like
Yeah,
work and make herself successful. So that definitely for me was a reminder that they're always watching.
I
they
can
are. They
look, Lori, to that point, my granddaughter, when she comes over the house, she plays doggy daycare with my dogs. She corners them in the front hall of the house, but she takes the little keyboard from my wife's iPad
Yeah,
and she walks around and she's tapping on the key saying, I'm doing work. And her mom works, my daughter
I
works from
love
home,
that.
right? So
That's
she
so
sees
cute.
mom working and she's, 5 years old walking around going, I got work to do. I have to get my work done at doggy daycare.
Got a good
So
doggy daycare to take care of. That's a
yeah.
future entrepreneur right there.
Yeah, so
yeah.
they get they get the benefits of that, right? You may
Yes.
sometimes feel like it's taking you away, but it's also giving them some great benefits of seeing mom at work, seeing mom doing things, and
Yes.
other than other than running home charity, right, and trying to cook dinner,
Yeah.
right? They're
Tossing
seeing
granola
things
bars
that
into the
they
back seat.
right
Yeah. Well, and
they
I think
they
to your point,
understand more.
especially for young girls, especially for young girls to see their moms working and being successful and owning companies. I think it's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I have boys. I have boys, but
Well, it's important for boys too, because then they'll grow up and think of women as equals and like take care of their wives or girlfriends. And, I think it's important for both genders.
yeah, I think it is.
Can I ask,
Um,
do you
yeah,
guys
go
hear
for it.
your word tracks yet in your children?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Talking
That
to their
comes.
dolls or their trucks or their whatever?
Oh
You,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I mean, and it's funny even with, okay, this is a little off topic, but you guys will find this funny. This has nothing to do with work, but along the lines of they're always watching. My daughter in kindergarten had to do a picture of what would be like relaxing to her, or they said, you relaxing. And it was her on a beach in a lounge chair with a phone, also a piece of cake and a glass of wine. I was a little mortified. She was in kindergarten, and the kindergarten teacher wrote a note on it that said, it said something like, I want to meet you outside of the conference calls. Just like this, you seem
Yeah.
great. She has cake, wine, and she's doing business on the beach. Like, what's happening here? But it's, yeah, along those lines, like they definitely, Wendy, pick up like all the things that they hear you saying and doing.
Yeah, they pay very close attention to what
Very
to what.
close, sometimes too much.
Yeah,
And Kaylee, I see Kaylee commented. Kaylee knows this well. Kaylee and I talk about this all the time.
yeah. She's got a little firecracker on her hands.
Two little firecrackers.
Cute.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
do. I have one with me right now because my babysitter's kids are sick, so I'm
See, this
struggling
is
today.
exactly, Kaylee, that's exactly the point. Like you just, sometimes the
Hmm.
babysitter's sick and you just got to make it work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep, it is what it is. Well, tell us a little bit how COVID affected you and your business. Probably not as hard as 2008 was, but what was that like for you?
COVID actually in some ways didn't affect, yeah, definitely not as hard as 2008. Like that 2008 is my hardest year of that I've ever had in business. But I feel like COVID actually really created this amazing opportunity. That's when I started careering. That's when I
Yeah,
started the podcast. And that's when I really became active on LinkedIn because what had happened is I'm an extrovert and I lost my social group. I wasn't going out anymore. I wasn't seeing my friends. We were kind of confined to our house. So I really started doing these posts on LinkedIn. And if you remember, that was the clubhouse that Asodu had put together. And one of the clubhouses was Michelle Denagine was the leader of it. And it was all about females empowering automotive. And I met this amazing group of women from that clubhouse and began kind of on LinkedIn doing video updates for any women who had missed the meeting. And that really was a way. So even though COVID was difficult from a business perspective, from a creative and sort of explosion of social influence in automotive, those were really big years for me because I just funneled all of my extroverted tendencies into the podcast and LinkedIn, and it paid off tenfold. I mean, like I said, we became so successful with our agency from the podcast that we had to stop the podcast.
Yeah.
So I think professionally was another difficult couple of years. Personally, it was one of the most creative and like fulfilling couple of years that I've had in business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like during COVID, everybody was home, podcasts were doing a lot better at that time? 'Cause people were
Yes.
spending their time, they're buying Netflix, you know, and people are spending a
Yep.
lot of time on a screen. And I don't know if they're performing quite as well as they did back then, but what do you think?
Well, Kaylee, what do you think? How's your podcast doing? Or Charity, you know your podcast as well.
Oh, I think I don't know, because I don't really look at like the audience, but I just hear the feedback. Like when I get on demos or I talk to clients, they're like, "Oh, I listened to that one podcast. It was great."
Yeah.
So that's my perspective on it. I'm not trying to be like million viewers or anything like that. It's just the feedback is what I listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, Charity, yes, I think podcasts were kind of a big novelty. They exploded in, during 2021. Yours started in 2021. I started mine 2020. Kaylee, when did you start yours? Was yours 20? It was around that time.
Yeah, I think it was 21. I was just looking at
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. So they exploded. I think podcasts themselves don't have quite the cachet they used to or the novelty they used to, but video itself has completely taken off over the last 5 years. And I'll give you an example. So we used to write articles for our clients, and we still do, but we have started doing LinkedIn interviews that we then clip up. At Charity, you and Russ do this great. Like you're one of the
Oh, yeah.
best at this. And then that seems to really, the video element is what has surprised me, is that all of a sudden video has taken over any type of content. And we've started even playing around with like video press releases, right? Like,
Yeah.
should we still send press releases, or should we do a video just of me saying, here's the rundown for today, here's what our clients are introducing, and send them to the editors? Because people don't have the time, or the COVID also did this. People don't have the time or the attention span. Video did kill the radio star. You're 100% right. Yeah, people just don't have the attention span anymore that they once had.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter these days. And, you know, TikTok might have been partly responsible for that.
Yeah, I think TikTok, and do you remember Vines? Now I'm like really dating myself, but Vines, which were I think they were 10-second snippets that came, one of the first video social that came. I think they've just really changed the game in the way we get out content.
Yeah, and phones, right? Having a
Yeah.
phone, you can
Yeah.
really just consume anything anywhere. And if it's 10 seconds, it doesn't take much time. So,
Yeah, and I know you probably understand this, like for anything that's going over social, 30 seconds or less. I mean,
yeah,
if you go over 2 minutes, you're done. No one's going to spend that time on screen to listen. So
yeah,
it's really and then you get to a messaging standpoint for clients. We're really talking to them about how do you differentiate yourself? How do you talk about your benefits within a 30-second to 1 minute span? Because that's
it's
truly the amount of time you have.
yeah, we do those quite a bit. And, you know, you just have to be fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you have
do
to get
lots
right
of
to the
them.
point. Right to
Yeah.
the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had, you know, like written content, we had podcasts, video. What do you think is next? What do you think will be the next big thing in marketing?
Well, AI, as usual, like everyone's talking about AI. And so I've been trying to figure out, how is AI and ChatGPT, how are those really going to be affecting things? And what I tell people is don't shy away from AI. But, and Dave knows this, Dave Foy and I have talked about this a ton. Don't shy away from AI, but use it as a tool. So what does that mean? For us, that means we may start with a draft, right, of a press release. So in ChatGPT, I say, here's the things, here's the differentiator, here's what is most important to pull out. But then I think I'm really a huge advocate of the human element still needs to be a part of that process, because I think most people can tell when something's written ChatGPT or a video's done by AI. One of the things you now have to worry about is there's now tools that will take a person, take their voice, and put messaging into AI. And that's terrifying. It's wonderful for things like learning management systems. terrifying in terms of now we don't know anymore if it's actually been said or if it's real or not. So I think the next big frontier is kind of how is AI going to play into communications? How do we as communicators use it? And what's the best way? Like Stephen, hi, Stephen is on the call, and he's part of Business Bourbon and Cigars with me. And we had a gentleman named Ethan King come in, and he showed all the different ways that AI can be used. And I think he did, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did one piece of content and turned it into like 22
Yeah,
pieces of
he
content.
did a lot of that. The interesting thing is he's sort of everywhere. So he creates this video and then AI takes it everywhere. And
Yeah.
I saw someone the other day who has an AI version of themselves. And honestly, you can't tell the difference between them and the AI version. And
Yep.
then the AI version goes and does all these videos. It also attends Zoom calls for him. So
Wow.
it comes on, it looks just like you do, and it's taking notes in the background. And then he gets a synopsis of what that call was about. He said, so he has so many meetings that he has to try and get to. He can't get to them all. So he sends his stand-in, as he calls it.
That's
Laurie,
amazing.
how do we know it's actually you?
I was just going to say, so you guys, let me just be frank. I'm AI right now. I'm AI generated. I've got about 3 different meetings going on right now. I kind of love that though. Can we all just start taking meetings as our AI selves? Like,
It was
I'm kind of into
wild.
that idea.
It was in an AI generalist course that I took.
Yeah.
And he was one of the experts that came on and talked
Amazing.
about. And I was also surprised to find out that there are currently worldwide 564 different AI tools.
Wow.
And you can go to a website and see where these tools rank in terms of their use. I can tell you the first 10 I never heard of, and they
Yeah.
have millions of people on them. So I don't even know what they do, and what he said was what he likes to do is go there and just play around with they'll let you in because they're beta testing all of these things.
Yep.
So they want people to come in and play around. So he goes and plays around and sees what's good, what's bad, what he likes, what he doesn't like. So then when the finished version comes out, he knows, yeah, that's not really something I want to pay for, or this is something I definitely want to pay for. So
Wow.
I thought it was kind of cool, but I was just shocked at the number of tools and the fact that there are millions of people on some of these things. I never heard of it, and I've never read it anywhere.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see where all of the AI tools and solutions go, especially in terms of communications over the next even 2 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to change how we work for sure. I can totally see using an alter ego to go to some meetings that, your presence is just needed to be there. You don't really talk or communicate with anybody. It's just a large meeting that's mandatory and that you could review later.
Yeah.
It'll save us a
A
lot
lot
of
of it,
time.
if you're just listening, like I've been on a lot of Zoom calls, and all I'm really doing is listening. I'm not expected to participate.
Yep.
It's an informational thing. You don't even have all the pictures like this up. So you can go to that with an AI, with a chatbot, and it can just represent you and take notes and then give you a synopsis of it later.
We'll have to do that for Scott Joseph, Stephen.
Oh, yes. I
Where
love his
Stephen and I are
comment.
both in a mastermind with Scott Joseph. If he heard that, he would blow his top. Stephen and I are now AI generated.
Oh God. What I love is his comment at the end of the last call. I guess the guy had to go early. So they were stopping like 10 minutes early. And he said, so, he's got to leave, but does everybody want to just stay and talk to me for 10 minutes? And everybody went, no, we're
Exit.
leaving.
Leave.
That was great.
Question for the group. Have any of you ever come across when you're in a company or something, or like talking with another company, and they kill the use of AI tools that come into that meeting?
Oh, do you mean like if there's transcriptions in there? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
so where I work, that's not allowed. So if someone comes into a meeting externally into a meeting with me, and there's like a read AI or something like that, I have to go through and make sure like we kick them all out, gets X'd out, all of them are done. There's no AI tools are allowed at all. at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
his
I
videos,
pick out note takers as well. Especially if that person is not there. If they're not there,
Mhm.
I give the AI the boot.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Even if
AI,
they're there, note takers are gone. Like if you're there and you have a
Interesting.
note takers are kicked out of the room.
Can I
Yeah.
make
and
a
they've got
comment?
ones that you can't identify. Okay, it doesn't say AI. It
Mhm.
just says Steve Westner,
Mhm.
and you see the name, you don't see the face, you don't see anything, but that's an AI taking notes for you, and it doesn't say, it doesn't identify itself as such, which I found really weird. But
Yeah.
so much of this stuff now is changing so fast that what was 6 months ago and what is today is night and day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
My experience when I do strategy calls, especially with AI startups and stuff that want to pitch their product or this or that or the other, they don't want the note takers in there because they're concerned about other developers stealing their ideas and
Yeah.
duplicating
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
Yeah. Privacy
They're
is a
like,
big problem.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but there are no rules and there are no laws. So if you can find them and kick them out, fine. But if you can't, it's not against the law.
Yeah. It's kind of the Wild West right now, for sure.
It's funny you say that, Stephen, because it's not against the law, right, to record a conversation if you're in a one-party state. So what if you're in a two-party state and the AI is transcribing or doing that? I wonder, I don't know when those laws will catch up, but now it just clicks something in my head. I'm like, oh, that's interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's doing it?
Yeah, those laws will
Yeah.
probably catch up when there's a relevant
Because
case
the
next.
law is written,
That's
if
right.
you're if
For
you're
people.
doing this,
Yeah,
Right.
for
okay,
people.
but having an AI do it, technically it's not you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not you.
Representation.
And a lot of these laws are written because the assumption is that it's going to be a person doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you have to go and say, he said, well, there's an AI doing it, I didn't do it. And now you have to go back and there's a whole lot of stuff you have to do to make that law apply, which is crazy, but it's weird.
Well, and you know what I've seen lately too, and it's really funny. It's I was thanking somebody for a mention or something on social, and they said, well, just so you're aware, because I thanked him and told him how honored I was, and I said, just so you're aware, we don't make I don't make those decisions, and I said that our AI and our social media company and the AI that they use scans our data and our members and everything else, and they make the decisions. And I said, yeah, I kind of figured that. I said, but I'm sure that the leadership committee approves all of the content before you allow them to post it. And you know what? The delayed response made me think maybe there aren't enough safeguards because they're trusting the AI to do it.
Yeah.
But another testimonial to the fact that you need the human side of AI. You still need to oversee things. You can't just give them, control of just whatever, like you, Laurie, with your LinkedIn. You're
Yeah.
going to want to at least have an opportunity to preview, even if people are ghostwriting for you, because you want to make sure they're representing you the right way, right?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
a lot of
Yeah.
it's going to be common sense, but a lot of people don't have common sense, you guys. And until they get burned on not having it regulated, they're not going to realize it, sadly.
Yep. I
Well,
think
the
you're absolutely
US
right.
is way behind on that. I mean, if you look around the world, whether it's China, whether it's Europe, anywhere else, there are far more laws on the books and far more penalties associated with misuse than there are in the US.
Yeah.
We don't regulate anything. We're like, ooh, we hate regulations. That's bad. Until somebody comes and kicks us, and then we go, hey, where's the damn regulation?
Yeah.
We got rid of
That's
that.
exactly
right. So yeah,
Well,
it's a bit more like the Wild West here, and that's why you see a lot of these companies when they do what they do in the U.S. in Europe, they get fined. That's why you hear about they've got this big $100 million fine because, yeah, it's a law here. It's not a law in the U.S., but it is there, and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
yeah, well, a lot of people are using AI to do, I've seen resumes, I've seen responses to emails, I've seen projects, all kinds of content, videos. In your view, Lori, do you see that as a lower standard? Like, if you receive AI written content or created content, do you look down on that and slight in any kind of way? Or are you cool with people, really leaning on AI to do all kinds of things?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say in the past I haven't. If it seems chat GPT generated, I'm going to discount that much more than someone who took their time, sweat, and tears to put something together. But AI has become so far, it's come so far that now a lot of people, like I could put into chat GPT, I could upload this interview, interviews from podcasts, writing that I've done, and say, crank out things that sound like me. And if it doesn't, like take this, and this, and now try this again and sound like me. So I guess the answer now is if people can be smart enough to get it to sound like them, if they upload enough things and they can get it to sound like them, I don't see any problem with it. If that's a way, and again, I really go back to the content needs to start with a human. But if you're using AI to create a YouTube video out of it, a blog post, an email communication, a press release, an article, go for it. Because really the name of the game anymore is it's really content based. And how many ways can you put that out? How many ways can you push that out to masses? So if AI is being used to do that, to take the original and then just create all of these additional pieces, I think that's the best use of AI right now, to be honest, from a communication standpoint.
It definitely helps save time in a lot of different ways. But it's funny, I see, and I don't mind it either, unless it's obvious they're trying to hide it and they just forgot that one emoji or
the hyphen, right? Do they say the hyphen? It's like the hyphen or the emojis. The emojis do it. It's like, oh, don't do the emojis.
Yeah, I used to love using emojis, and then AI ruined it for me.
Yeah, I've had people reach out and ask if I've written things on LinkedIn myself, and I'm like, oh no, I just love emojis. Yes, that came from me. I just like using emojis.
I use emojis in my text messages. So like
Me
people
too.
see them in my post and I'm like, no, like Dave's like, yes, she does. Yes, she does all the time.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, no, this truly is me writing and using
Mhm.
emojis. This is not AI. And
Yeah.
I'm like such a lover of words. I mean, I'm a journalism major. I love words. I'm a writer. I've always been a writer. So it's also a little bit of that traditionalist in me that like I like writing words. And so even kind of going to video and what we're talking about, everything's becoming so sort of screen based. Like I kind of miss the days of the articles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. There was personality in them, and I feel when I see a lot of AI content, it all kind of starts sounding the same to me
Yep.
after a while. No matter what the message is,
Yeah.
it all sounds the same.
I'll tell you what, in press releases, the dead giveaway is the same jargon as being used. To your point, Charity, like the same words are being used for like groundbreaking, the adjectives.
Dynamic, yeah.
The adjectives are always the same. And it's like, oh, AI wrote this, and
Yeah.
editors, by the way, guys, anyone on this call, editors could absolutely tell when AI's written
Yeah.
something. So, and
Okay.
it'll get kicked out if it's too close.
Yeah, I
So it's
find the hardest part of writing is getting started.
Yes.
So I like that you go and you ask ChatGPT to give you an outline.
Yes.
I don't want you to write it for me. I want you to give me an outline of the thoughts, and I'll put all that in the prompt. So give me an
100%.
outline that I can then go and use, and I'm kind of got myself started, because the
Yeah.
hardest thing for me is writing that first paragraph. After that,
That's
I'm
exactly
off and
right.
running. So
That and research is very helpful. So if
Yeah.
you are writing an article, like I'll give an example. We were working for a credit union or a financial company. I don't know anything about, financials and so we wrote the article, but Steve, to your point, like then we went to Chat GPT and said, show us a bunch of stats and things that back up this main point. And then we would filter that into the article. But it is really good for research and finding pieces that will help support the points that you're writing about.
So I'm
yeah, 'cause
curious.
the speed with which it can do it is just staggering. I mean,
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
for you to go
Yeah.
research something like that could take you a week, and it does
Right.
it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. It'll clear through 200 web pages, and you always have to verify that the facts are legitimate. But
Right.
yeah, it can scan web pages, and that is so helpful. And go ahead, Gretchen.
Oh yeah, no, I was curious for the group. So from a linguistic standpoint, right? So you said, Lori, right, you're a journalism major. My
Yeah.
daughter is as well, so like I get that a little bit from her here and there. But what I've noticed is it's very easy to tell in the spoken word who uses AI tools a lot, like heavily leans upon them because they start using phrases that they would never use in 1,000 years, right? Because you have those coined phrases that you see come across, and then all of a sudden, I hear someone say it in conversation. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, okay, right? And just like, different parts of like slang, Urban Dictionary, and whatnot spread so quickly, right? Previously with the internet and all that good fun stuff, but now with chat, like ruffle feathers. Okay. Every time I turn around now, because it's a big AI thing, right? I hear people in normal conversation saying ruffle feather. I don't want to ruffle feathers. And it's like,
Yeah.
I've known you for 20 years. You've never said that. How often are you like, how much chat GPT are you using? Because now you're starting to talk like it.
Yep,
Right?
exactly.
So the
Yes.
wildfire kind of spread of the way language is changing because of the influence of AI tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. My son, he had to write an essay about music. And, I'm old school. I'm like, just write it from your heart. It doesn't have to be, perfect, but and
Yep.
he comes back, gives me a first draft, and right in the first paragraph, he's talking about a song that says it has cleaning vibes in it. And I'm like, you turned and went to Grok, didn't you? You asked Grok, and it told you that this song it gives good cleaning vibes. I'm like, you never clean.
Yeah. You're like, there's no way this came from you. To your point, like this does not sound like something you would say.
Yeah, it takes some skill to hide it, I think. And hopefully we don't see our kids grow up talking like ChatGPT and stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, let me ask you, what unique issues do you think dealerships and vendors in the automotive space face, in particular when it comes to marketing? Do you see any common threads that kind of circle around over and over?
I think, one of the common threads we see among our clients is not understanding the difference between marketing and PR. So I don't know if I'm not sure if that's the nucleus of your question or if you meant more of like with customers.
Oh, that's perfect. You can tell us
Okay,
about
yeah.
that.
So we run into this a ton. And the way I really like to think of it and talk to about it is public relations is engagement, influence, and really putting yourself out there as a thought leader. But it's not going to bring any leads in. PR, well, it will. I'm sorry, that's not true. I just had something come in today. Here's a perfect example of PR. I do some work in the vendor 20 group. And one of the people within the vendor 20 group, actually, Kaylee, you're the one who told me this. Actually, Kaylee just texted me among other people. One of the companies within the vendor 20 group used us recently. And in the call, he said, best money we ever spent. We do it again and again. That is PR because that's influence. So there is a lead that's coming in through that, but that's a testimonial that's leading to someone coming in.
Yeah.
Marketing is more of your direct content and your direct outreach to create a lead. And so that's kind of the way we try to use it, but we still have clients, and we have clients who we've worked with for years who still say like, well, I don't understand why we're not getting any leads. And it's like, well, it's because we're doing public relations, not marketing. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably been one of the biggest misconceptions is just the difference between influence, which is what I think PR, and kind of lead-based gen, which is what I think of as marketing.
And I tell you what, generating leads through marketing is a very tricky task, especially
Yeah.
for automotive vendors.
Yes.
And I am not convinced that you can just put out content and expect the leads to come piling in. It
Yeah.
takes an enormous amount of work. So what areas do you find are the best for lead gen?
For lead gen, I would say just direct email communication, right? That still ranks as number one. Events, certain types of events are good for lead gen. And then surprisingly, some of the podcasts like Car Dealership Guy. Now, I don't know if everyone on this call realizes, but if you have a podcast on Car Dealership Guy, it's because the vendor has paid $30,000 to $50,000 for that
Yes,
spot. So
do
it's
realize.
100% a paid opportunity on Car Dealership Guy.
Yes. Yes.
But when you go to some of those more influential podcasts like Car Dealership Guy, those can bring in leads because, as we all know, automotive, mainly dealers, not so much the vendors, but dealers follow in success. They're a competitive crew. So I would say from a marketing perspective, maybe not even the channel, but the topic is sharing how other dealers have created success with your product or service. And that messaging tends to bring in the most leads.
So a testimonial or case study based
Yeah.
messaging.
Yes. Case study based messaging, I would say. And, from social media, testimonials from people. And really, when we work with people on testimonials, really focus in on the metrics. So not just like they're nice and they're the nicest company we've ever worked with. It's like we've saved 50,000 or we've brought in an additional 60,000 a month by using this service scheduling tool. So when we talk to clients, it's really more about like try to get your testimonials to be very, very specific. And again, we're dealing with automotive. So when I say specific, it's how much did they save or how much did they bring in? Those are the two biggest.
Yeah.
Dealers always are best for selling dealers.
Yes,
The best way to sell a
100%.
dealer is have another dealer do it for you, because they're not listening to you. But if they hear somebody else has made it, made 10 grand or 5 grand, they'll go, oh, well, that guy's an idiot. I can make 20, so they're in.
And the other tip I'll tell you guys all from, if you're thinking of writing an article or going on a podcast, think about perhaps writing the article and seeing if you can put it in under one of your dealer clients. It can't be promotion. It can't be self-promotional about your product, but it can be about creating a challenge, like solving a challenge. And if you're able to write that, but then put it in under one of your dealers, if they're willing to be the author, the ghostwriter of that, that's going to do way, way more for you than anything as a vendor that you can put together. So that's another thing we talk to clients about, like finding those advocates who are willing to be the dealer front-facing fans.
Yes. Dealer advocates it's tough to find those. I feel like dealers are just bombarded with
They are.
vendors, marketing, emails. I mean, NADA is coming up and they're attacked. The NADA.
100%. I have a great story about this. I don't know if any of you know Darren Wade. He's fantastic. He's out of Albuquerque, runs GM of Bob Richford. I met him at the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference in Florida or in Arizona. And he was so funny. Hannah Lifson introduced us. He was wonderful, but he just kept being sort of weird to me. And finally, when he realized that I only work with vendors, he opened right up and he was like, I'm so sorry, but I just thought you were going to try and sell me. So these guys really are coming in from a very defensive stance from the very get-go. They've got their defenses up. It doesn't matter if it's an event, if you're coming to them on a phone call. So I don't know quite how we get around that other than just relationship building.
Get a dealer to let you use their badge and walk around the floor. And if it says dealer, you are going to get assaulted by every
100%.
single person. I don't care what they're selling. I found that was amazing to me.
And I love it.
Me his badge. I was walking around going, okay, okay. Geez.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, since you represent vendors as clients and they're all going after dealers, do you feel under pressure at all to generate dealer leads for them? Or do you come out clearly up front and say, the goal here is not to, create a bunch of leads for you, but we're here to, we have different goals.
That's a great question. And I mean, I think we even had that when we were talking, Charity, like Charity and Russ and I had all been talking, right, Russ, about how to promote. And we are very, very upfront and honest about it, because I don't want there ever to be a miscommunication I want to always over deliver versus under deliver. So when we begin a partnership, we say, look, this really is about influence. It's really about thought leadership. It's about building engagement with your audience, but leads are not going to necessarily happen from up here. They will down the line. The key, right? We always say the key is we want someone to say, I read an article about you, and then I heard you on a podcast, and then I saw that you're speaking at NADA, and then I saw you on LinkedIn and social, to where they're saying we can't turn around without hearing about your company or executives. That is the goal of PR.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got to tell you, a few months ago, I reached out to the great connector, Laurie, because I had this need and I really wasn't clear So she made it very clear. We had a couple of conversations, and then she, as she does so well, connected me with somebody else that's exactly what they do. So
Yeah.
we appreciate all you do for our industry, Laurie. It's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very much an open book. I'm very transparent. You can ask me anything, I'll answer anything. And so I just feel like the more upfront all of us can be
Yep.
in business dealings, the better. And we have had companies that have walked away and said, okay, I'm so sorry, we're actually looking for marketing. And in that case, we'll recommend someone. But then they'll come back months later and say, we just were so happy with how truthful you were. We are now ready for PR. We now understand what PR is. Can we do
Yeah.
something together? And
Right
so
on.
honesty is the best policy with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely an expectation you have to set when it comes to
Yes.
marketing, because I think a lot of people get the misperception that it is, oh, I'm going to get leads. I'm going to get a bucket of leads. It's going to be
Yep.
great. And that's just
Yep.
not how it works. Let me
Yeah.
ask you real quick. We were talking a little bit about NADA presentations and other event presentations before we
Yeah.
started. I was telling you about the one that I got for Russell and I. When was that, Russell? 2022, 2023? And but tell us how you suggest to your clients how to get speaking engagements and presentations
Oh,
at
that's
the
such a great question. I love
end.
that. Because what
Okay.
we'll do is we'll help them put submissions in, but then if they don't get it, we'll actually go back to the organizers of NADA or Digital Dealer and say, why exactly did this not get accepted? And I'll tell you the number one is a good video. Number one. And that's the thing. Most people wait until the very last minute. They do it real quick. They do it on their iPhone. They send it in. If you're spending any time on anything, video is the number one thing they're looking at. Second, and I was surprised, they said repeat speakers. I would have thought the repeat speaker would be a negative because they don't want the
Right.
same people. But I think what happens is it's actually a positive and it actually gives you more points, because I think the idea is if you've been a speaker before, you've already been on stage and you know what you're doing and you know how to do it. So being a repeat speaker. And then the third is just title, like a really catchy title. I can't remember oh man, I had an example in one of my LinkedIn posts of some of the most catchy titles I've seen and why they got it. But I would say anything that can kind of draw on like gosh, I wish I could remember it. Olivia Stapleton just did one that was great. Anything that can kind of like touch on like a music song or like basically something everyone knows, a saying everyone knows, and you can somehow work it into the title of that presentation. Those they're going to pay attention to. So yeah, video, returning speaker, and title are the three.
Yeah. What do you think are some topics that NADA and Digital Dealer and the other, what do you think they're looking for in, I guess it'll be
Well,
2027?
yeah. So topics, I mean, it's funny. AI again is a double-edged sword because they're getting everything about AI, but they also want AI. So AI, I'd say AI is one, but also, and this isn't necessarily a topic, every single event is also going to, if you have a dealer on stage with you to present, you get a higher score in that submission.
Oh,
So
love
if
it.
there's something that you want to go on stage to talk about, try to find a dealer who can come on stage and speak about it with you. And then sad but true, I like this, but it's a little unfair. If you're female, you have a better chance of getting a speaking spot.
Yeah.
And only
Oh, yeah.
because there's so few of us. So they're looking for diversity on stage. And so females have a better chance than males as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I hear ya.
We're talking about parts because Kaylee got on
Yeah.
with parts. That's
Yeah.
actually a good point. And I know, Kaylee, I know you're joking, but actually that's a good point. Parts aren't really paid attention to in the way they should be. So truthfully, it was Kaylee because she's so wonderful. And they actually went to Kaylee to ask her. So that's some big props. But also if you have something that maybe isn't talked about enough that you put in a submission for, those tend to do better as well.
Yeah. Okay, I lost my question that I had on that line of thought. Oh well, if it comes back, it comes.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me.
Parts is one of the least understood parts of the car business.
Parts.
Yes.
I mean, there's so few people that really understand it. There's a lot of people faking that they understand it, but they don't understand it. And you can see the difference in the performance at the dealership. But that's why the next to the controller, next to your controller, that's the safest position in a dealership. No dealer is going to screw with him because he doesn't know what he does and he doesn't want it to go away. And then I got to find somebody else. So no. If that person doesn't want to do whatever they don't want to do, the dealer goes, yeah, we're not doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
And you reminded me of my question, Stephen.
There we
Now,
go.
do you have to absolutely be an expert in your speaking topic to submit that topic?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully you are, right? Hopefully by the time you
Sure.
get up on stage and you're speaking, you are. But I've worked with some companies like us, our good friend Sarah Van Tyne, Dave from Quantum 5. She got up at NADA and was speaking about, I can't remember specifically what it was, but about training when she worked at Quantum 5. And she'd just gotten into the role 2 months ago.
Yep.
But she was a great presenter. She presented herself well in the video, and her title and submission was strong, and she got selected. So you absolutely do not have to be an expert in the topic.
Yeah, well, we're almost out of time, and I want to be respectful of your time, Laurie. So, does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask her before our time ends?
Oh, thank you, Kaylee. I just want
Okay,
to thank
then
you
I'm
guys so much. Yeah, thank you so much for getting on, guys. What if that hour went like that?
It did.
It's
It went
fast.
really fast. And thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And maybe you'll come on again in a few months and
I
we'll
would
get
love
to
that.
touch base with you. and
Well, and
see
I
where
can't
you
wait to
are.
see you all at NADA, right?
Yes.
Las Vegas up next.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so
Awesome.
much for having me on.
Laurie,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank
Bye.
you, Dave. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Okay. Bye.